hello. Welcome to another edition of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Hope you guys had a lovely weekend. Hope you guys missed your favorite wrestling fan. I definitely missed you guys. Hope everyone is well. Hope everyone is definitely smiling tonight. If you guys are watching the NFL game between the Rams and the Vikings, gotta be honest, a little shocking. Obviously, what does this mean for Sam Darnold when, trying to cash in on a new contract? This game was extremely important, especially for Darnold, because now you literally just kind of shot yourself in the foot. And, after definitely losing this game against the Rams, it's not over yet. So, we've seen more, we've seen a lot of different, circumstances. Maybe, there are miracles, especially if you're a wrestling fan, you're definitely, definitely love seeing those miracles. But as of right now, it doesn't seem like the Vikings are going to, are going to come back and challenge those Rams. But, it is what it is. They had a pretty good season. Obviously, it was very surprising. Definitely coach of the year. Does this, I was banking on Sam Darnold kind of being the comeback player of the year. You know what? I still think he is. But it's neither here nor there. We're going to talk about some professional wrestling. We have a great show for today on tap. Today we have our WWE Smackdown review. Then we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw. And then, of course, we're going to go ahead and jump on into, some WWE NXT. And then fourth segment, we're going to talk about Pentagon Jr., Penta El Cero Miedo, however you guys want to remember him by, not remember him, but, have a fond memory of. I don't know, that sounded weird when I said that. Overall, whatever name you choose to call him, we're going to talk about him coming to the WWE, future storylines, what you want to see, what you don't want to see on Monday Night Raw, and then we're going to talk about AEW All In Texas is going head-to-head against WWE Saturday night's main event happening July 12th. Honestly, it wasn't a WWE decision. Obviously, NBC kind of came out with its own schedule. It is the premier show, prime time, kind of like a Saturday Night Live meeting WWE. Obviously, if you guys watched the Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon on Netflix, you knew that the NBC, the head honcho, and Vince McMahon were, pretty close business partners. And even in terms once when they did the, the XFL back in, the early 2000s. But, it's actually, pretty interesting to watch, especially if you're a wrestling fan. Got a chat from my man, Anthony Mazzano. If you were to build your dream quarterback from attributes of great NFL quarterbacks, what quarterback do you use? I don't want to say Tom Brady, because for the longest time I hated Tom Brady, and I feel like, he wasn't really much of a scrambler, but he could scramble when he had the chance. I got to be honest, I like Dan Marino. He put on some great numbers. He was great passing, especially back then in a league where it was ground and pound and it was mostly teams running the football. He was able to put up numbers like 40 touchdowns, which was absolutely, it was unheard of, especially back in that modern day NFL era. And now, kind of what Joe Burrow did this season. Obviously, the Bengals did not make the playoffs. Kind of sucks. I would rather see them come in to, put up a game against Josh Allen and the Bills. Instead, you got Bo Nix. Not crapping on Bo Nix or anything like that. I personally feel like the Denver Broncos are in a way better direction. Nice step. They do need, a couple more pieces. They need a running game. Estime wasn't really, he was on my fantasy league. I remember there was one week where I needed a running back because I think DeAndre Swift had a bye week. And DeAndre Swift kind of screwed me this fantasy season as well. Little Fettuccine 68 says the Los Angeles Rams are going all the way to win the Super Bowl at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in New Orleans. You know what? It wouldn't be much of a shock. This isn't the first time they did this. When they defeated the Bengals with Joe Burrow, I think they were a wild card team, and Sean McVay just has that. He has that it factor to him. He definitely knows how to. He knows how to hype up his players. Nobody plays harder for their coach than the Rams do for Sean McVay. And last season was kind of the Rams always kind of find a way. They always kind of find a way to stay relevant within the topic, even in the playoffs. Like, they always seem like, they have a shot. I remember when Baker Mayfield, the quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, played that split time under Sean McVay, and he even said in an interview that's the reason why he's a changed quarterback now. That's the reason why he's playing decent in Tampa. When I'm going to say decent, it sounds kind of mean. I feel like he is playing he's killing it. I feel like he is balling out in Tampa Bay, and obviously he said it was thanks to leadership from Sean McVay. So I feel like he does have a way with quarterbacks. I feel like he has overall a way with a lot of players in the NFL connecting to that, kind of young crowd, because, the NFL, all these guys are young. It's crazy to see. It's crazy to say Lamar Jackson is 28 years old, and I'm like, damn, I don't know why we're people who are in professional sports league, I automatically just assume that they are in their 30s or something like that. But, that's a bold statement. The Los Angeles Rams definitely do have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Me, personally, I do not want to see Kansas City win, although they probably will, which sucks. But, it is what it is. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, they're fantastic together. Match made in heaven, and sometimes you just can't hate. You just got to appreciate. Just got to tip your hat to them and be like, hey, one of these days, my team will hopefully have that successful, kind of standing and stuff like that. All right, so without further ado, we're going to jump on into our first segment. Got some WWE Smackdown to talk about, but before we do any of that, I just want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Just remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. We are all ears. Definitely keep those comments, definitely sound off in that comment section. And if you really want to make sure that comment is, read, although, most of your comments are, if you want to feel gracious, obviously hit up that super chat. Just a great way to keep the podcast, keep this network going, and have these amazing podcasters doing what they do, doing what they love to do, is to keep bringing you guys awesome sports content on a day-to-day basis. Obviously, those super chats helps us, helps us bring things that you guys love. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys. All the audience is definitely, we are greatly, we're in debt to you guys, and we definitely love you guys who joins us here. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's get this party started. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome, and together we will make sure this podcast is, bigger, better, and stronger than ever. All right, so without further ado, let's talk about some WWE Smackdown. You know what? I thought it was a good episode of Smackdown. I'm not going to say it was the best, obviously, 3 hours to kill. And, Triple H, Paul Levesque did announce that in July, I think it's in July, yeah. In July, they will be switching back to that 2-hour format of SmackDown on the USA Network, which is, it's good and it's bad. I feel like it's good because obviously, more time, more, a chance for young, talented superstars to come out and kind of go out there and chase their dream, kind of do what they do love, do what they love doing best, is that, stepping inside, jumping off that top rope, being all you can be while you have the shared spotlight. So, I think by then they will definitely have kind of just like a schedule. They'll have a checklist of what exactly should be broadcasted on WWE Smackdown on a week-to-week basis. Honestly, it could be, it could be bad. It could be bad. And obviously for the reasons that I explained why it's good. You can have a lot of, unseen talent. You can see a lot of the same bookings over and over and over again. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of getting tired of seeing, Ludwig Kaiser and Sheamus kind of go at it. Totally cool. Obviously, in my opinion, 1,010%. I feel like they are, they put on good matches. I love Sheamus, obviously a veteran in the game. Ludwig Kaiser is a young, rising superstar. Congratulations to his girlfriend, Tiffany Stratton, on cashing in and becoming the new WWE Women's Champion last Friday night on SmackDown. So, you got to throw your flowers whenever they're due. But, just some things, I just don't want it to seem super, repetitive. So we got the new announcers. We got Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett are now anchoring WWE Smackdown, which is good. I did not want to see. I was thinking maybe Joe, maybe not Spencer. What the hell is his name? Oh my God, I can't think of his. Corey Graves. Like I do like Corey Graves. He's all right. I'm not the biggest fan But him with Joe Tessitore would have been interesting, but I personally love him and Wade Barrett. They have great chemistry together. WWE officials behind the scenes saying this year that they were actually super impressed by by the commentary duo that was on WWE Monday Night Raw before, Pat McAfee and Michael Cole took over. Obviously, Raw going to Netflix, you need Michael Cole. Obviously he's been around the business for quite some time, knows how to call a match, definitely knows how to manipulate the viewer and get them into the match. The way he calls a match is just, it's just great. Obviously nobody could be Jim Ross. I don't think anybody would ever kind of match up to Jim Ross. The intensity that he shared while on the mic, just calling the action, making you feel like you're sitting right there on the apron, watching these guys go at it. So Michael Cole, he does a pretty good job. He's like, he's almost there. He's my, second favorite WWE announcer of all time. And of course, Pat McAfee. Who doesn't love Pat McAfee? I love the way he's like this in-your-face style. I love the way how he kind of brings a new flavor to WWE. For the longest time, WWE and the sports world have kind of been adjacent to each other. And, now you kind of have Pat McAfee being that. He's going to bring a little bit of worldwide sports commentary, worldwide sports media, a media attitude or a media presence to WWE, which it makes it seem a little bit more real. And I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. But, like, for example, like if you saw Joe Buck or Troy Aikman commentary on WWE, you'd be like, oh my God, that's kind of, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Or Al Michaels. I would love to see Al Michaels do commentary on like a WrestleMania match. I feel like that'd be pretty cool. Next, moving on. Paul Heyman starts out. He addresses the WWE Universe, saying that the only tribal chief in this world is Roman Reigns. Obviously, I kind of felt like that was a little push to the final boss, to The Rock. Obviously, you saw him on that Monday Night Raw on Netflix. A debut. Roman Reigns wants his title back. Paul Heyman, asks Cody Rhodes to come out, looks him dead in the eye, and then all of a sudden Kevin Owens comes out. Something between this, this feud needs to happen. Like, it's to the point where kind of getting tired of it, and the Drew McIntyre CM Punk feud, it was good. But there was a lot of wash, rinse, and repeat. One of them's talking on the mic, then the other one attacks the other one backstage. One of them gets carried off in an ambulance, and then vice versa. And then now we have, Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes both being thrown. Both, it was Cody Rhodes who tackled Kevin Owens on top, to this table. So, Triple H definitely, was reported backstage that he's writing those two characters off for the meantime. Just, so they're probably going to have those, those interviews via satellite and, how you preparing for your match against Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble. And then, obviously the same thing's going to be happening with Kevin. But I feel like it's good. I feel like it's good right now. Kind of leave some slots open. And that, like what I was talking about earlier in this segment with Friday Night SmackDown, returning to 2 hours. I feel like, between these next 6 months, I feel like a lot of superstars, Triple H is looking them, he's talking to them in the back, telling them, hey, it's your chance to step up. It's your chance to step up. Do you want to be on SmackDown? Do you want to eventually move to WWE Monday Night Raw? It's your choice. So, you either come in here and act like you give a damn about the business, share a passion along with all these other men backstage, or if you're just another chump. So, should be pretty cool. Should be pretty good. This match at Royal Rumble, I'm looking forward to it. Tama Tonga and Jakob Fatu come out to try to attack Paul Heyman. Jimmy Uso says no, saves Paul Heyman, but falls short to the speed, the dominance of Jakob Fatu. And then, of course, Cody comes back. And, that was that. And backstage, the LA Knight throws Jakob Fatu outside of the arena, closes the door. I thought that was kind of funny, but at the same time, I knew it was a foreshadow that they were going to, get involved in this match, and I did not want to see that. I really honestly did not want to see that. Chelsea Green retains her WWE Women's United States Championship against Michin, of course, with the distraction, Piper Niven paying dividends, helping Chelsea Green keep that belt around her waist. Did not want to have a short-lived run. Michin, I respect her. I think she's a great superstar. But I kind of want to see something new with this Chelsea Green storyline, because right now it kind of seems a little stale. So it'll be interesting to kind of see, maybe if Jade Cargill comes back. Well, she will. Why am I saying maybe? When she comes back, and then is Naomi going to just, open arms? Is she going to just be willing to relinquish her half of that women's tag team championships? Because, she never lost it, like I mentioned before. With Sasha Banks, they left the company due to character frustrations over storyline writings. And so she never lost that title. I feel like Bianca Belair is going to be put in a difficult situation. But if Jade, I feel like is a future women's United States champion. But it should be interesting to find out this whole storyline between her and, who attacked her and all that kind of stuff. Legado del Fantasma, got to be honest, I watched them. I loved how Angel Garza was reaching out to the fans, giving them handshakes. Looking quite babyface, they were able to defeat Pretty Deadly. And, I think the tag team division on SmackDown is night and day different than about, 2 or 3 months ago, obviously, before the Motor City Machine Guns debuted. I feel like they have a huge spark. They added a huge spark to WWE Smackdown in the tag team division. Obviously, my opinion. Pretty Deadly, happy to see them getting some TV time. Right now, they're not getting a lot of love inside the ring, but they put on a good match. It was a decent match. Obviously, when you're the heels, you kind of have to, be jerks. You kind of have to bend the rules a little bit, and most of the time they, kind of fall short and lose. But, completely impressed. I love the fact that Legado del Fantasma is getting attention. I love the fact that they're turning babyface. So the LA Knight against Shinsuke Nakamura, like I said before, obviously it was a rematch. I love Shinsuke Nakamura's character shift. I love his new entrance. I love the red. I love the fact that, I love the Japanese culture inside his entrance, in his fighting style. He really honestly needed to kind of take a break from WWE. And I feel like WWE ultimately needed him to leave to kind of be like, all right, he is obviously a talent. He's a missing link. You see him in OAH and, in Japanese wrestling, they pay attention to the wrestling and they're very passionate about it. And Shinsuke Nakamura coming back with a new attitude, a whole new character skin is, pretty badass. And I love it. Kind of crazy, the LA Knight once again screwed out. So he's probably going to get another shot. I'm looking forward to it. Not too, I don't know. Motor City Machine Guns defeat Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. Theory looking absolutely impressive. And, it was a good match. Overall, it was a good match. Tiffany Stratton comes out. It is Tiffy time. The new WWE Women's Champion basically put the locker room on blast. Told the crowd to basically acknowledge her. And then Nia Jax came out and, just basically goading her on and be like, you finally took advantage. Tiffany Stratton claimed that she played Nia Jax the whole time. We have that women's number 1 contendership match. We see Bayley come out to confront Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax. Then out comes Naomi and Bianca. And then, bam, we got a fatal 4-way match. Number 1, whoever wins gets a shot at Tiffany Stratton's titles next week on SmackDown. Won by Bayley. Like it, don't love it. Carmelo Hayes and Jimmy Uso hinting at their future feud, which would be pretty cool. I would like that feud for both of those superstars. Jakob, Fatu, Tama, Tonga defeat Cody Rhodes and Jimmy once when Kevin Owens gets involved. And like I mentioned before, both of them wind up through a table. And yeah, but it was a decent ending. It was a decent ending. All right, we talked about SmackDown. Now we're going to talk about some WWE Monday Night Raw talk. We're going to get into some of the action when we come back. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage and join me here in about 25 seconds. So hey, do not go absolutely anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. Oh,
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time on the GSMC Sports Network to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling. We talk about all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumors, and drama. We talk about inactive statuses, injury updates. We also talk about superstar contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings. We talk about promotions like WWE to AEW, to the MLW, to the GCW, to TNA, to Ring of Honor. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show, 1010%. So Superman, punch that like and subscribe button and receive some notifications when we give out awesome new content. So without further ado, let's jump on into our next segment. We got our WWE Monday Night Raw talk. We're going to get into the action, but before we do that, just want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat right there, whether if you have a burning question or a hot take in terms of the world of professional wrestling, or just something you've been dying to get off your chest here at the GSMC Sports Network. We want you guys to feel like your voice is heard. We want you guys to feel absolutely comfortable to get anything you want off of that chest of yours, so don't be shy. Drop your thoughts inside that chat. That super chat guarantees anything you guys put inside that little chat box right there. Slap that $sign. It's gonna be featured on the show, 1010%. Plus, it's a great way to support the channel. Your support, your super chats helps us keep the lights on and bring you even more awesome content that you guys love so dang much. First and foremost, a thank you in advance. We're super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. So obviously, thank you guys so much. So let's get the conversation going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome, and together we will make sure this podcast is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Once again, it's super chat not your thing. It's all good. Go ahead and hit up that tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. And just remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 1010%. But in terms of talking sports, it's inevitable. There's going to be some disagreements. There's going to be some criticisms. It's all good. It's all gravy, baby. It's already water under the bridge. Just drop anything in that chat. Obviously, we welcome all opinions, hot takes, facts, just feel comfortable. All right, without further ado, we got some WWE Monday Night Raw talk being streamed on Netflix for the second week in a row. Obviously, it's not going to have that same, although, it's not going to be at the Intuit Arena, the home of the Los Angeles Clippers, who, they make it a little bit more of a spectacle, but I believe it's still going to be pretty cool. They're up in San Jose, California, the hometown of Bayley, former WWE Women's Champion. We have a street fight. We got a street fight tonight, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. It has been rumored, it's been speculated online that we are going to see Bad Bunny help Damian Priest fend off the Judgment Day, maybe get this storyline start brewing. Damian Priest forms a nice little posse to take on the Judgment Day at WrestleMania 41, and then obviously the Judgment Day are going to do what they do best and lose, and then that's going to be the end of that, hopefully. I feel like the Judgment Day storyline is about done. I feel like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being they're going to break up, I feel like maybe they're like that at that 8.5, because at this point, I don't see how Carlito, how JD, how Dirty Dom, and now Liv Morgan doesn't have the title anymore. And her, Raquel Rodriguez. Obviously, the women are in completely different storylines and situations, so I'm not going to put too much hate on that. It's been, I read a couple of reports stating that Liv Morgan might drop Dominic Mysterio and, be like, oh, you're the reason why I lost this and that and the other. So that could be a possibility. That could definitely be a possibility. Or you see, Liv Morgan win the Women's Money in the Bank match. Maybe she wins the Royal Rumble. I don't think her storyline is going to end anytime soon. Same with Dominic Mysterio. It would be interesting to see if, I would not necessarily have him win the Royal Rumble, but him being Mr. Money in the Bank, and then with Liv, Mrs. Money in the Bank, running Monday Night Raw. I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate that whatsoever. I feel like that'd be actually pretty damn cool. So, definitely a nice little future storyline. Next, we have Chad Gable taking on a mystery luchador. Who's going to be the luchador? Everybody knows it's going to be Penta. Penta's going to debut on WWE Monday Night Raw. Putting him up against Chad Gable, I kind of like it. Chad Gable has a lot of experience inside the ring. Literally, he trains his competition. Literally, he holds the company on his back. He is definitely the first person to be like, you know what, if you can hang inside the ring with Chad Gable, kind of like a Kurt Angle. Once when Kurt Angle was, the Olympic gold medalist, well, he still is, but back then, if you can hang in the ring with Kurt Angle, you can hang with them all. And I feel like Chad Gable is kind of like at that status of being as good as Kurt Angle was. Although Kurt Angle was probably one of the best wrestlers in sports entertainment history. But, I'm happy to see him going against Gable. Gotta be honest, obviously, the American-made aspect of it, he's going to have the red, white, and blue America, and then you have, a luchador, Latino wrestler, come in and, basically debut against, Chad Gable, who's, America, that was a little, obviously, they don't, obviously, I don't think they mean that, but I just kind of looked at it and I was like, oh, no, because I know some people will. Some people will definitely look at this and be like, oh, this is just another way for it to be like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I just kind of had to address it. Sheamus takes on Ludwig Kaiser. Like I said before, earlier in the show, I'm getting a little tired of these two guys constantly at each other's throats. Obviously, the only person that's missing out of this match would probably be Braun Breaker. Those three they've been going at it. With one attacking the other. I want to see something different. I do want to see something different. Ludwig Kaiser. He's a rising star. He's done great inside the ring. He cuts decent promos. Actually, he's more than decent. I feel like he does pretty good. Sheamus is at that age where I feel like he's putting superstars over, so this is going to be great. Ludwig obviously gets to work with the Celtic Warrior, and the Celtic Warrior could definitely help Kaiser, kind of dip into his, bag of arsenal and kind of push him to the limit to be like, hey, if you want to, be a future WWE champion, you gotta hang in the ring. This is what you gotta do. And, I feel like Ludwig, he can hang. So it's going to be a good match. We got the final between the Lyra Valkyria going up against Dakota Kai for that coveted, for the inaugural WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship match. I would love to see Lyra Valkyria win. I feel like she deserves it. I like how WWE is, they're going more international. Think about it. You have the NXT World Champion, from Nigeria, Obafemi. You have, the NXT Women's World Champion, Julia, from Japan and stuff like that. And then you have Chelsea Green, United States Champion. She's Canadian. So, it goes on and on and on. Gunther, obviously, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. They deserve it all. They deserve it all 1,010%. I like how WWE is starting to give a little bit more, international love to a lot of these superstars. For the longest time, I feel like it was predominantly like white and American made and stuff like that. So, it's kind of cool to get a different taste of culture. Obviously, this world is super diverse and it's only going to be more diverse. And so thus, the wrestling world has to adjust. And, it's not a bad thing at all. It's great. It's absolutely great. Next, we have the Wyatt Six. Are they going to finally start this feud between them and Karrion Kross? I feel like Monday Night Raw being on Netflix should add more of a horror movie-like promos between the two. Watching Karrion Kross get a little more crazy than Bo Dallas or Uncle Howdy, it could be cool. It could be pretty badass. A lot of people think that, and me, myself, I read an article, how Bo Dallas makes this shift into The Fiend. Like, Bray Wyatt was The Fiend, but The Fiend, he takes host. He had it over Bray Wyatt, and now he's going to have it over Bo Dallas. What happens with the Uncle Howdy character? Maybe Uncle Howdy possesses another soul. Maybe something happens along the lines of that. Necessarily, it's not dead. It's not dead. It's never been dead. Kind of like the Kane character back in the WWE Attitude Era. I had a couple of discussions with a couple of wrestling fans. A lot of people say that Glenn Jacobs, he took a break from being Kane because his whole body, he just looked different. He just looked different. Obviously, in interviews, he sticks to the character that he was Kane the whole time. Could we possibly, conspiracy theory alert, the character Kane, you put on the mask, you're tall, you could pull it off. So was Glenn Jacobs Kane the whole time? I think, I'm not going to be a cynic. I feel like he was. I definitely feel like he was. But, I just thought that was kind of interesting how maybe perhaps we could see the whole thing with The Fiend come back. This guy who's literally, as diabolical, as, horrific. He's sick. The Wyatt Six. And then, he finds a way to kind of come back. So that'd be pretty cool. Are we going to find a challenger for Gunther's World Heavyweight Championship? Hopefully he does defend it at the Royal Rumble. Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre may be coming together closer and closer and closer. The enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing. Seth Rollins losing against CM Punk last week on Netflix. Rhea Ripley, she's going to have a title celebration. Will Liv Morgan crash it, demanding her rematch clause? Who knows? Logan Paul, maybe perhaps the next challenger for Braun Breaker's WWE Intercontinental Championship. I feel like at this point, that's not really much of a shocker. Going up against Gunther, maybe it could happen, but I would rather see him go against Braun Breaker, and I would rather see Braun, pick up the victory and, kind of further solidify his claim as this amazing, unpredictable badass on WWE. So, I definitely think that would be pretty cool for both characters, being honest. All right, without further ado, we're going to jump on into our next segment. We got WWE NXT to talk about. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here in about 20 seconds. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right, and we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time on the GSMC Sports Network to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling. We talk about all the action inside and outside the ring, backstage curtain calls and rumors and drama. We talk about contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings. We talk about promotions from WWE to AEW to Ring of Honor to Impact Wrestling. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show 1,010%. So make sure you guys Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show so you guys can get some notifications when we produce awesome new content. All right, without further ado, we talked about some WWE Smackdown. We talked about Monday Night Raw. Give you guys a little bit of preview of it. Obviously, it did already air on the East Coast with Netflix and stuff like that. I've not checked a single shred of social media. Have not, checked Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. So I'm going in blind. Definitely love doing that. I could probably look up the results and share them with you guys on Monday nights. But, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's not like other sports, journalism where you can just look up the results and be like, okay, bing, bang, boom. Oh, this person had this many incomplete passes. It, seemed like this quarterback had a bad day. There's something more about storytelling in terms of professional wrestling that just, you kind of have to pay attention to it. I guess you kind of have to watch it. It's special in its own kind of way. It is poetry. It's entertainment. It's cinema, and it's awesome. It's super awesome. That's the reason why I'm a huge wrestling fan, because it's definitely makes you feel kind of. I don't know if I sound like a total dork saying this, but it kind of makes you feel a little alive watching all this stuff. Watching all these guys jumping off the top rope and putting their bodies on the line just to entertain the crowd. Like it's. It's kind of crazy. It's professional wrestling, but definitely one of the reasons why I fell in love with it. So without further ado, let's talk about some WWE NXT. Obviously, we're gonna get a huge fallout of what happened on NXT New Year's Evil, which was good. It was good. It was a nice little PLE. It was I love the fact that Oba Femi, if there's anybody to dethrone Trick Williams for that NXT World Championship, it kind of had to been Oba. Oba, he's been seen in NXT. He already has the credibility. He has the reputation of being a great champion. And Trick Williams, I ultimately thought out of Trick and Oba, whoever loses will probably wind up debuting on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, or maybe even the Royal Rumble. Like I can see Trick Williams being in the Royal Rumble would be absolutely electric. Hearing, whoa, that Trick, it'd be super cool. Like imagine if, Carmelo Hayes started out as number 1 and number 2. Who drew number 2, and all of a sudden, whoa, that Trick, like that'd be pretty cool. Would be interesting to find out that happens. If it didn't, if I just give you guys a prediction that's going to come true, I got to be honest, I'm a little excited. That'd be pretty cool. It's NXT's in good hands with Oba. All right, we got Nathan Frazer and Axiom defending their WWE NXT World Tag Team Championships against OTM, Lucien Price and Bronco Nima. I got to be honest, I'm not a huge OTM guy. I'm not. I could see why they might pick up the dub here. I could definitely see that, but I've always kind of thought to myself that Axiom and Frazer belonged on the main roster. They would definitely kind of lift the Raw Tag Team division, and they belong on that division. I definitely, the moment they come to Monday Night Raw, I'm sorry, but, they're automatically the number 1 tag team. I do love the War Raiders. I do like, an aging new day. And it sounds kind of weird. JD McDonough and Finn Balor, Judgment Day. I feel like they would add a little bit of spice to the Raw Tag Team division. Obviously, kind of what the Motor City Machine Guns did on Friday Night SmackDown. With Nathan Frazer and Axiom coming would be pretty badass for Monday Night Raw. But giving the titles, putting the titles on OTM, I feel like the best part of OTM is Jada Parker. But talented superstars, can they be formidable tag team champions? Definitely, they definitely have that, they've had Nathan Frazer and Axiom held it for quite some time when, month after month after PLE, people thought, even me, including me, I was like, okay, now this is when they drop the titles. Oh, now this is when they drop the titles. Obviously they defeated Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin to win those titles. OTM, I just don't feel like they have that big, bad enough star power. But they're kind of cocky, they're heelish. So if there's anybody that's gonna pick up the tag team division or have the belts on them, it would probably be OTM. Why not? Let's kind of see how this works out. Because obviously no more. There's no more Chase U anymore, which is kind of a damn shame, which is kind of crazy. But maybe Rich Holland and Pete Dunne come back together and they form a tag team. Right now it is still, up in the air what's going to happen with the tag team division. But I just, OTM, they could do it, but I just don't want them to do it. But, whatever happens, happens. It's all gravy. It's already water under the bridge. We got a women's tag team number 1 contenders match. We have Metaphor, the team of Jakar Jackson and Lash Legend taking on the Unholy Union, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. They already got it. Both of these teams have already kind of had a shot at the gold. Metaphor, I do feel like the Metaphor will wind up on SmackDown. I do. I don't know why. I feel like they will. Noam Dar comes back. Obviously Aura Mensah. Lash Legend is absolutely impressive. She's definitely, she could be a WWE Women's Champion, like on the main roster. I'm that damn confident that she can be, she has that star power. She has that it factor. She has that, you know what? I'm good. I'm better than you, and you know it. So, and Jakara Jackson too. Jakara Jackson, she puts on some pretty damn good matches. She definitely, every single time she's in a match, she's selling moves. She's making her opponents look strong. She's making her opponents look like they are like the best wrestlers in the world. So that's something cool that Jakara Jackson could definitely do. Lash Legend, obviously. One of my favorite wrestlers when I started watching, when I really started to get into WWE NXT. When I feel like I got into it like really, really hardcore once when Noam Dar actually got injured. I think he got beat up by Ethan Page, I think it was. That's when I started really getting into the NXT. But I have forever, ever watched Raw and SmackDown. I've always, that's my shiz. I loved watching those shows. Kind of kept tabs on, WWE NXT. I was like, it's all right. It's cool and all. I absolutely loved the 205 Live, one of my favorite shows. Obviously not that's not nowhere. But I don't know. I feel like NXT has, they've picked it up. They've, kicked complete ass. And, that yellow and gold brand or what is it, black and gold? I think they call themselves black and gold brand is, simply doing amazing. And, I would love to see Metaphor win this match. We have an NXT's Women's Championship number 1 contenders match. No, North American, sorry, excuse me. Shotzi takes on Stephanie Vaquer. This is a great time for Vaquer to ultimately, I feel like she's going to win. But this is an important match for her because this is going to be a great way to see how she can actually, dictate a match, going one-on-one. I want to see good, I don't want to see any miscues. And although, it's, you can't really blame Stephanie for not knowing that much English. But if, she gets it. That's the reason why Shawn Michaels and Julia have kind of, Shawn Michaels, in terms of Julia and Stephanie Vaquer, kind of baby steps tiptoeing because, sometimes it's, it's hard and you don't want to, not give somebody with complete special physical talents in the wrestling ring a chance because, there's a language barrier. Definitely don't want, obviously, look what's happening with the NXT Women's Division. It is on absolute fire. So, Shawn Michaels obviously doing a great job when it comes to that. But I see Vaquer winning. Eddie Thorpe and Lola Vice both win Battle Royals to get a number 1 shot at their respective division's main title. Will we get a Julia title celebration? What's next for the Prodigy? Is she going to get her rematch clause back? Or will she debut at the Royal Rumble? That would be pretty great for her. Obviously, I don't think she'll win. I don't think she'll win the Royal Rumble, but it would be an absolute wild card for her to do so. But if there's anybody that could definitely prove the naysayers wrong, that it'd be a stupid idea to have an NXT wrestler win, and then come and then, it's got to be Roxanne Perez. If anybody can prove all the naysayers wrong, it's got to be her, because she's, she's extremely talented, great, one of the best women's wrestlers I've seen in my generation thus far. And right now in the women's division, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Asuka. People are waiting. People are on pins and needles waiting for their return. Sort of like, one of those girls are going to win the Royal Rumble. But I got to be honest, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see them win the Royal Rumble. I want to see Becky, she's going to come back. I would love to see her go up against Lyra Valkyria. That would be pretty interesting because both of them obviously have a huge respect for each other. It was Lyra Valkyria taking the NXT Women's Championship off of Becky Lynch when she had her brief stint with, going back down to NXT. I feel like that would be a nice little feud to start. But not a feud, but kind of like a respective, match against each other, kind of thing. Leave all the animosity in the ring, So I think that would be super badass. And Charlotte Flair, she could easily win a match at the Elimination Chamber to take on, Tiffany Stratton. So that kind of ultimately leaves, or Rhea Ripley. But that ultimately leaves the Women's Royal Rumble absolutely wide open. Because I don't think Bianca's gonna do it. Jade could do it. Jade could possibly do it. thus creating more of a wedge between her and Belair. Kind of what Nia Jax was saying, how you were jealous of Jade because you weren't the strongest anymore, you weren't the fastest, you weren't the craziest. So then it's kind of hit home. I feel like that was a nice little promo that she cut there. Also, we're gonna get Ethan Page, Siobhan Evans. We're probably gonna get more of their feud started. Honestly, I can't wait. All right, guys. So hey, do not go anywhere. We're gonna talk about our next segment. We got WWE introduces Penta El Cero Miedo to the WWE. Pentagon Junior, Penta, however you guys want to call him. He's in WWE now. We're gonna talk about future storylines, kind of his past, what exactly would be good for him in terms of storylines, and what would be bad for him. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here in about 15 seconds. So hey, do not go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC. To access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday here on the GSMC Sports Network to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumors, drama, and updates. We talk about contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings. We talk about promotions like WWE to AEW, to New Japan Professional Wrestling, to the GCW, to the NWA, to TNA, I'm just kidding. No, we do. We cover definitely, if it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this, show. So, definitely love it. Definitely like it or love it. All right. So, without further ado, we're going to talk about our next segment. We got WWE introducing Penta El Cero Miedo, which means zero fear, have no fear. Penta's here, so I can't wait to see him come back to WWE. Well, not come back, but WWE has always kind of kept tabs on him. When he was doing the Lucha Underground with Rey Fenix, it was it was kind of said that they should have came to WWE quite some time ago, and I definitely agree with that statement 1,010%. But, at that point in time, it would still, I feel like, kind of under, like, a Vince McMahon ultimate, like a Vince McMahon direction. But, under the Triple H Paul Levesque era, I feel like a lot of wrestlers are going to be jumping ship and coming to, the grand standard of professional wrestling, which has always been, the World Wrestling Entertainment. And, of course, not trying to crap on any other wrestling promotions like, WCW, ECW, the NWA, all that other stuff, because I feel like in a way, and AEW, I feel like in a way, as a wrestling fan, it's all interconnected. And, and if you think if a wrestling business is trying to put the other wrestling business out of business, it's, I don't know, I got to be honest, I don't really see that happening. I love a little bit of competition. I love the fact that you could possibly see these wrestlers wrestle on different wrestling promotions, and and I think it's great. I definitely do think it's great. I think under the Vince McMahon rule in WWE, where he kind of had like a territorial system, like, oh, if you leave WWE, you better never come back, and you can't take your name, you can't take your theme song. I thought that was kind of crazy and dumb. I thought it was stupid. When a lot of WWE wrestlers debuted in AEW, like Jon Moxley, like Keith Lee, Aleister Black, Edge, Christian, and he was just I don't know. I just feel like just let the name fly. Let it fly, man. Let it fly. Because ultimately they're the ones getting popular. It's I know it might be trademarked. I get all that lawyered mumbo jumbo and copyright, yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, as a wrestler, that's kind of like your brand. Like if you go to, like, if you're wrestling in TNA or WWE for the longest time, and the only thing really people recognize you is your name. Like that's what draws a lot of Google clicks. They're not going to be like, oh, like for the longest time I was like, who the hell is Nick Nemeth? Who the hell is Nick Nemeth? And then I looked online and I was like, holy crap, is that Dolph Ziggler? Like that's crazy. But I don't know. I just feel like, as wrestlers, I kind of like it how, crossovers would be so badass. I would love wrestling crossovers. All right, but without further ado, let's talk about Penta's future in WWE. WWE earlier today unveiled new merchandise for Penta. But even before Monday Night Raw, I thought that was kind of crazy. WWE clearly becoming more international, which is super cool. Perhaps maybe there could be more shows in Latin America, which would be pretty badass. Obviously, with the addition of CMLL, Stephanie Vaquer, and all these other, like, it feels like there's a lot of Latino wrestlers right now, and it's fantastic. Especially in the past where WWE didn't really do well with Latino wrestlers, obviously kind of holding them to stereotypes, like, i.e. the freaking the Mexicools and stuff like that. It wasn't too good. But now you kind of have a huge, big free agent signing. You have this guy, Penta, who can literally be, I think he's 5'11". He's not your average luchador. This guy could definitely kick some ass. He can be dominant inside the ring. He can, resort to that ground and pound. He can also jump off the top rope. Look how impressive Jakob Fatu is every single time he jumps off and does a backflip off that top rope. The way that man moves, like, defies the laws of physics. And I think you're going to be seeing the same thing with Penta here on Monday Night Raw. And I feel like, it's kind of a new flame, a new flavor that they definitely needed. But, I would love to see more shows happen in, Latin America. So he will go one-on-one with Chad Gable tonight. I got to be honest, please no LWOBS. And I'm not trying to hate on the LWO. They're cool in their own little right. But I just want to see something different. If he gets categorized as the LWO and there's like, oh, let's just build more people and throw him in the LWO, I don't think that's going to expunge his talent that much. I ultimately feel like, as a lone wolf kind of character, or maybe perhaps he finds a way to kind of, absolutely no faction, more of a darker version of your average luchador in WWE. Maybe he finds a way to attack Rey Mysterio. Maybe he wants to brainwash the LWO, blame Mysterio for all of their failures. Being brutally honest, if Rey, I saw on Smackdown, and I noted this on my notes, that Legado del Fantasma looks like they are going for a babyface turn. Could this possibly have been a foreshadowing or a hint of how WWE will hold the character of, Penta, in his debut, or how he's going to be viewed in the WWE? It'd be pretty cool to kind of see that. Maybe perhaps he starts to feud with Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio winds up all by himself, resorting to, maybe bringing in Legado del Fantasma to help him out, to take out Penta, who brainwashed his LWO friends, and now they're kind of like a darker faction. Or maybe, Rey Mysterio reaches out to his son. Or maybe Dominic Mysterio watches Rey Mysterio be brutalized by Penta, and, then he decides to join his father and tries to, fight him back. That could definitely be some, some storylines. But like I said, I do not want to see this guy just join this poppy group, LWO, yeah. I get it, it is cool in its own, blood. When the LWO was created, it was, it was cool. It was great. But not for Penta. Definitely not for Penta. I don't want to see that absolutely whatsoever. So, what does this mean for Rey Fenix? Obviously, his brother wanting to get out of AEW, the contract saying that, inhumane conditions, posting stuff on social media. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time till Phoenix comes to WWE, and I feel like it should be sooner rather than later. This is, this is drama that Tony Khan shouldn't really want to kind of push further than I feel like he already kind of has. Like, I get it, honor your contract. You get injured, you sign somebody for 5 years only to find out that they get injured for a year. Are you just going to let them walk out and be like, okay, hey, thank you, sucks you're injured? No, I think, he wants him to honor that time, obviously. I feel like that's that's a natural in any kind of business proposal there, So, he's going to join Penta, but it's going to be some time. It's going to be a little bit of time. It would be badass if he, in less than a couple of months, definitely before WrestleMania, watching the Lucha Brothers perform on the grandest stage of them all would be absolutely special as hell. The 39-year-old has never been unmasked. He is a man of mystery, and he doesn't know much English. So WWE kind of would have to, like Shawn Michaels did with Julia and Stephanie Vaquero, kind of help him, little baby steps here and there. But I feel like he'll be fine. He's been in the wrestling industry forever. So, obviously, language barriers, nothing like a language like professional wrestling. The name Pentagon was taken 8 times before El Cero Miedo took it right there. It was said to be cursed. Then he came up with his own catchphrase, Cero Miedo, obviously, zero fear, not caring that the name was cursed. The former AEW and Lucha Underground star. He's great. He's great. I want WWE to make this guy, I want him to look scary. I want him to look dominant. I don't want him to pander to the crowd too much. Although he is automatically a crowd favorite. He was huge in Lucha Underground. Obviously, in AEW as well. In AEW, he was alongside Pac of the Death Triangle. Rey Fenix, obviously, when he got injured and they lost the Trios Championship. It kind of forced Penta to be in this singles competition where he did contend for AEW and Ring of Honor Gold, but ultimately it was just kind of him being all by himself, which isn't a bad thing. He actually did, he proved a lot during that tenure as a singles run, and look at him now. He got an awesome, WWE contract out of it. Definitely proved himself worthy of being on, like I said, the golden standard of professional wrestling. Like I said, not trying to, mean that as a hate or anything like that. But it is what it is, WWE, obviously. If you're a wrestler, if you want to expose your brand, if you want to make that money, if you want to make that quiche, then you're going to want to jump onto, WWE. So, I can't wait to see what Penta has in store for tonight. I have not checked in a single shred of social media for his debut, but I just don't want to see him go over to the LWO. I want to see a different, more darker version of like a luchador. But, hey, who knows? Maybe it'll work out. Maybe I'm full of crap, All right, we got our 5th and final segment, running short of time here, so we'll try to speed this up. We have the AEW All In Texas going head-to-head with WWE Saturday night's main event in 2025. We're going to talk about what it means. Should AEW kind of be pissed? And, basically everything else surrounding it. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice-cold beverage, and join me here in about 25 seconds. So, hey, do not go anywhere. Alright, and we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time here on the GSMC Sports Network. Talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumors, dramas, and updates. We talk about, contract negotiations, extensions and new signings. We talk about WWE to AEW to sometimes ECW and WCW. It's a nice little blast in the past. We also talk about TNA, Ring of Honor, you name it. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show 1010%. So Superman, punch that like and subscribe button. All right, without further ado, we're going to jump on into our fifth and final segment. AEW All In will be going head-to-head with WWE Saturday night's main event. Not a WWE decision. Obviously, this TV schedule kind of came out with the deal. This is all NBC, Peacock, and all that. So for a little while, if Triple H, if you think Triple H is trying to flex, maybe in a way he will. Obviously Saturday night's main event is kind of like a little, the closest thing to like a mini, like a pay-per-view PLE kind of thing. That's exactly what it's going to be. But is this good for wrestling fans? You could do the picture-in-picture. You could watch both. At the same time, it's possible. It's going to, obviously I feel like AEW, and although they do start at the same time, I feel like it's 5 p.m. Pacific time, or 3 p.m., not too sure, or 4. I ultimately feel like AEW, it's going to run for about 4 or 5 hours. Obviously Saturday night's main event, only 2. So, AEW is not like they're going to take much of a hit in terms of ratings. And, I kind of like that. I kind of like how, Tony Khan definitely feels like he doesn't have that much pressure because, the PLEs in AEW, I got to be honest, I like them. I like them a lot. I love the fact that there's more than like 8 or 9 matches. It's super cool. I'm a huge, into the action kind of thing. I wish that every belt on a WWE PLE would be defended. I think that would be pretty badass. I feel like it'd be cool. But for the longest time, WWE didn't really have an alternate wrestling promotion to, kind of stick it to, kind of be like, okay, we have competition, so we got to kind of get the crowd a little bit more. There was nobody. As soon as WCW kind of went under, and as soon as TNA, they lost their Panda energy, they lost their sponsor once when Dixie Carter left, and then there's a lot of talent that left Impact, and then Impact Wrestling kind of went, the shatters. So to the point where you didn't really have to worry about it. Ring of Honor wasn't really a thing. Well, it was, but it wasn't really much of a, obviously in the independent wrestling circuit, it was pretty badass. They had a lot of young, talented stars. New Japan Professional Wrestling still too. But in the States, not a lot of people kind of, it was all WWE. So WWE's like, oh, who gives a damn if we give people 4 or 5 matches? Who's going to complain? Where are they going to go? So I feel like ultimately maybe they kind of took advantage of that. And I get the Triple H, slogan, quality over quantity. Like, I get it. But there's still a lot of great matches in AEW as well. So I don't really, quite agree with that notion. And I feel like if you do have a lot of matches and if you do have the belt being defended every PLE, you can do some well matches, do some well-rounded matches. But so we have Saturday night's main event. I'm not saying that AEW All In is going to just, totally just trample over Saturday night's main event because there are, like I said, it is like a PLE worthy match. But this is like their biggest event of the year for AEW. It's like if WrestleMania went head to, well, you can't really compare WrestleMania to anything. So I guess I can't really help you guys out there. But this is going to be great for Tony Khan. I feel like this is going to be great for wrestling. A nice little head-to-head competition thing is exactly what the doctor ordered, which is cool. When you had the Monday Night Wars, obviously it is different now. We are in a more of a digital streaming kind of era. What I want to see is I want to see them streaming on HBO Max. If they solo kind of like rely on those pay-per-view sales to get like revenue, I feel like if you make it more easily accessible for fans, they're going to watch it as opposed to, WWE Saturday night's main event. Like, if you have the whole pay-per-view thing, then you got to pay for it. I think they do it on, like, a Bleacher Report, or I think it's Thriller TV. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. They charge a lot of money for that thing, too. Like, but if they stream it on HBO, make it, like, make it not consistent. That's not the right word. Make it more accessible, more convenient. There we go, convenient. Make it more convenient for wrestling fans. I feel like it'd be awesome to kind of see AEW be on HBO Max. Kind of giving people a chance to watch it. Other than that, you can flip over to your local NBC, streaming simultaneously on Peacock. You can watch some WWE and be like, oh, okay, I get to watch professional wrestling. Oh, for some strange reason, that takes the sting of, you know what, I'll just look at the results later and look at the highlights, other than someone be like, no, I have to watch this live. I have to. With another wrestling promotion on, to be like, yo, you know what, I'm just going to watch Saturday Night's Main Event. I'll just find out the results for All In. Or some people could argue vice versa. Maybe they'd be like, okay, I'm going to order All In, but then again, it's going to be like, $50 to like $80. And, if you want to get your daily dose of wrestling fix, you can obviously flip over to your Peacock, well, not your Peacock, your, NBC provider, or have a Peacock streaming service. But, I don't quite know, if people subscribe more to Peacock or HBO Max. I feel like HBO Max would have a lot more streamers. But obviously Netflix is going to be like, when Royal Rumble and WrestleMania and Summer, like it's going to be, because most of the world, they do have Netflix, they subscribe to Netflix. Mostly that's kind of like the gold standard, Netflix. That started it all. That was the first thing. Be like, oh, Netflix, hang out, watch some Netflix and stuff. And that's when a lot of other companies are probably like, oh, you know what? Maybe we should start some streaming services too, because that's the future. That is the future. And now that Netflix has started to stream live TV, I think they even got sports too. I'm not too sure. Obviously, they did have the football games on Christmas Day, so I definitely thought that was pretty badass. But this is AEW's first American Stadium match. It's going to be in Stadium Show in Texas at the Globe Life Stadium in Arlington, the home of the Texas Rangers. WrestleTix reported more than 10,000 tickets. It's set up to host 18,000. Seating capacity at the stadium was 40,000. Sorry, excuse me. WWE also held a holiday live event in Orlando, Florida, while AEW's World End was in the same city. So will Saturday Night's Main Event be like somewhere like San Antonio? That could possibly be, that could happen, as well. Like I said, I love a little bit of competition. AEW PLEs definitely, in my opinion, not outshine WWE, but it's pretty damn close. But that's just my style of professional wrestling. I'm kind of like an older soul, and I feel like that's a lot of older souls do watch a lot of AEW, but it's the younger crowd that they probably should be targeting. And but I feel like it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great. If AEW decided to do it at Wembley Stadium again, I kind of thought that was an all-in tradition. Wembley Stadium. They always have so much success doing it at Wembley Stadium. And, they would have started earlier, too. Like, your Saturday Night's main event wouldn't really, be that much of an issue because, I live in, not LA. I live in, Southern California. So that's about 8 hours, I think, a difference. So, if you have Saturday Night's Main Event, airing, you know what I mean? And then you have AEW All In starting earlier, so that would be pretty cool. That would definitely, I definitely thought, I thought it was a Wembley Stadium kind of thing. You know what? I got to be honest. Will we ever get a mixed roster or crossover between AEW and WWE? I would love to see it. Team WWE going up against, AEW. They would never ever have that crossover collaboration, which sucks for the fans because I feel like that'd be super cool because, obviously Tony Khan and Triple H, and I don't know their really relationships. I know, Shane and Tony. Shane was seen talking to Tony Khan in the back in the past, and maybe that could possibly be a future. Maybe that could be interesting. But AEW going head to head with WWE. Like I said, I don't really think it's gonna be, oh my God, AEW is gonna go bankrupt. I don't think that at all. I feel like this is gonna be a nice little. It's like I said, it's good and it could be bad because then you kind of have to flip back and forth. But then again, All In is going to run from I think it's going to be like a 3.5 hour, 4 hour shows is usually what AEW shoots for, and Saturday Night's Main Event is 2 hours. But minus all the ads and the promotions and the backstage banter, I feel like there is only maybe 45 minutes of real actual action on the show. It's gonna be cool. But that's the reason why people watch professional wrestling too. For all the other stuff. For all the glitter and stuff. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your favorite wrestling fan, bidding you farewell. I will see you live on Wednesday. Make sure you guys check our YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. Make sure that GSMC Sports Network as well. Follow us on Twitter /X, however you guys like to call it, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook for more content and updates. And like I always say, if I have not made you a wrestling fan by now, make sure you check out all these amazing podcasts on the Sports Network. We have football podcasts. We have all around sports. It's we have a lot of awesome podcasters here who definitely want to make sure that you guys get your daily dose of sports media, and who better to get it from the GSMC Sports Network. We are absolutely unbiased. Well, I don't know, professional wrestling, when you're like a media and you report professional wrestling, because they have heels and baby faces, so I feel like the whole objective thing is a little there's some gray areas to that. Smoke and mirrors. I'm just kidding. But anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stay beautiful, but most importantly, I love you.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great.